Hello, it's me, Osama bin Laden. I'd like to welcome you to another Leicester. Yes, that's right. I am in America. Hooray! And this is all they have to drink here. This is their only soft drink. Everyone has to have this. It's called Seal You Later. There's a joke on it. It says, knock, knock, who's there? America! And then they kill Osama bin Laden. And that's all they drink here now in America. It's kind of slightly sad. Welcome to another show. I mentioned this because we're doing another series of As It Occurs to Me. And you know what? I think that bottle of whatever that pop is going to feature somewhat in this show. If you would like to come and help us out and see it recorded, the first recording is on the 11th of September at the Leicester Square Theatre. Go to leicestersquaretheatre.com to buy tickets. The more people who come to see it, the more stuff we'll be able to film. It's as simple as that. So do come along if you can. We're going to release all of the shows together in 2017 at some point. So it'll be your chance to be the first to see some of the stuff we're doing long before the other idiots who can't come to the show. Anyway, hope you enjoy this Leicester with Graham Linehan, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man who is currently wondering how old his dental floss is. It's Richard Herring! Thank you very much. Welcome to Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast. I was on the set of Tron this week. Don't you remember this film Tron? I was on the set of it. Still open and everything. They were just waiting to see if they get another one. And all the men who were driving, they still drive around on those little motorcycles. And the men on that call it Rehearsal. I don't know if that's going to catch on because they're quite cool. I suddenly realised I've started. You know, like you go to I went to the dentist last week, and every time they go to the dentist, they go, "You've got to floss your teeth." And, you know, I go, and every time I go, "Yeah, I'll do that." And then I do it for one day, and then I never do it. But you buy some new dental floss every time, and then, you know, I've realised I've got about 10 packs of dental floss in my bathroom cupboard. So I sort of took one of them out rather than buying one, and I've been using it I've been doing quite well. I've done about a week of dental flossing. But looking at the dental floss, you know, I don't know what you call it, canister, I don't know what it is, little tub thing. It's all kind of perished, and you can't really... And I kind of think it might be the first one I ever bought of dental floss. I remember getting some from my house when I left home in Cheddar when I was 18. I think it's the same one. So I'm currently using 30-year-old dental floss. And I don't know if that's dangerous, I don't know if it degrades, or whether they used asbestos in it in those days. And because I got it from home, I'm wondering, you know, was my dad's dental floss, really. What if he was one that he'd had from 30 years before that he bought? I'm thinking I'll do that every week. So that's kind of weird to think I might be using ancient... I mean, it's probably worth money, isn't it? That's the thing. I'm just, every time I take off a bit of dental floss, that is throwing thousands of pounds for the antique dental floss. This observational material is not going down as well. It's harder than it looks, isn't it? The old man draw stuff. I think it'd be easy. I thought everyone would go, yeah, I identify with that, Rich. They're not using dental floss and having old dental floss in the house. Everyone else is going, no, we floss regularly and get through a pack of dental floss in probably a month and then move on to the next. Interdental brushes, it's the way to go. We're still here in the past, reeling from the people who are listening and watching this are in the future. God knows who your Prime Minister is now, but whether they're from Earth or not. The news is moving very quickly, making this a not very topical podcast immediately out of date. But my wife's still very upset about Brexit, and I was actually working late at night, like Graham Linehan would, and I was upstairs and my wife was trying to get some sleep, and she texted me saying, I can't sleep, I'm so angry still about Brexit, I can't sleep. So I texted her back and said, lay back and don't think about England. Which I thought was kind of quite witty after, you know, that could be in a dictionary of quotations, that very topical one. It's not often I'm very witty. I come up with about a joke about every 2 years, I would say. As I've discovered going back over my show I'm doing a best-of show this tour, I realise how few jokes I write. Anyway, let's crack straight on. I was going to talk about Adrian Ledson saying she's being a mother, she understood how things were, but that's fucked already. That's fucked from where I wrote that down. That's already not. I wrote that down today, and that's not topical anymore. So imagine how people in go, who's Andrea Ledson? People in their home, what's going on? Who's that? They're like, lizards are in charge now. So my guest this week, he is probably best known as Gendarme 1 in Paris. People are we're just thinking and remembering that. You remember the sitcom Paris with Alexei Sayle? It's Graham Linehan, ladies and gentlemen. It's Graham Linehan, hopefully. Here he is. No, come on, there he is. Graham Linehan's brought his coat. Welcome. Sit down, pull up a microphone. There's going to be all kinds of fun. So,
I just said welcome back.
Welcome back.
Because I was on automatic.
And, good. You
Enjoy
might
your
need that
meal, you too.
So, do you remember being the Gendarme 1 in Paris?
I do, yeah, I do.
Was it? Did people still stop you in the street?
It was kind of like, oh, this is cute. Let's put them in it, and we came in and we mumbled our lines and walked off. But it was in the days before we realised you can't just write something and hand it in.
Right.
You have to be there all the time, and you have to be anal about everything. And so you end up reading out lines that don't really work, and not really understanding why, because they were funny when you originally thought of them.
Yeah.
So that was, just part of the whole Paris experience.
Because Paris was Alexei Sayle's sitcom. You wrote that before Father Ted with Art Matthews, yeah. So
it was about an artist in the 1920s. It was just loads of. It was kind of Blackadder, I guess, influenced a little bit. It was historical jokes about Cubism, or actually, was it Cubism? It was all that sort of thing. And Alexei, the thing we did with Alexei was that we wrote a part that was too, that kind of worked too much with his reputation, so it was very shouty. And it didn't work in the end. It was just people shouting at each other.
Yeah.
And also, we overwrote by about 10 minutes each show.
Right.
And they would say, you need to cut it down. And we'd be like, oh, no, we don't, because we were at that stage where you think, we're not going to change anything. And then it would go out, and it would be like 10 minutes too long. And they say, well, you're going to have to lose 10 minutes in the edit. And we're like, well, what did we lose? So essentially, we lost all the jokes.
Right.
Because the only thing, you had to keep in the plot.
Yes.
So it was loads of people telling each other what was going to happen next. And no jokes. There were jokes, but they were confusing and weird because we'd lost lots of the context. So it was, it didn't go well.
That's interesting. So that's your. I mean, you'd written sketches and stuff for people like Alexei and Smith and Jones, and this was your first step into sitcom, and then that could, that could have been the end, though, couldn't it?
Oh God, yeah, we were so lucky, and it was also Channel 4, because and Channel 4, thank God, weren't frightened by the lack of success, and they just commissioned Father Ted while it was still going out. Yeah. So.
Did they say, as long as it's not that Paris thing, you can do anything you want?
And we were just, we from then on, we were just on it. We cast it, and we were there at every rehearsal, and you put in the work.
Yeah. Do you think that's something that broadcasters aren't as prepared to do now, to give second chances, or do you think they still do give second? I mean,
it depends who they are. I think there's some people who are very frightened of failure, especially in comedy. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of people who don't understand comedy and kind of hate it because they don't understand it. There's a great story. Jeffrey Perkins, the late Jeffrey Perkins, who produced Father Ted. He was really wonderful, and he was once the head of comedy at BBC. And he said that once he got a memo that was some sort of publicity thing for the BBC, and it said, from the greatest costume dramas all the way down to sitcoms. And he said he once went into a meeting and everybody was discussing how they did, and they were talking about their viewing figures of whatever it would be at the time. They were big compared to now, but you'd be at 10 million, 11 million. And then he sat down and talked, Only Fools and Horses, we got 24 million. And, and he just talked a little bit about that, and then they listened to it and they went, Okay. And they just went on to something else. Like,
Yeah.
it was just no big thing, you know? And he just, I think he really was unhappy there, you know? I don't know if it's changed, but Shane is in there now, and he's lovely.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's lots of nice people there, but I think the system is a little odd now. You used to bring things to a commissioner, and they would put it on the TV. Now you bring it to a commissioner, and they work with you to prepare it to send to someone who's higher than them, who's kind of, you know, not really personally involved.
Yeah.
You know, which is possibly good. I don't know. I don't know if it's leading to better comedy necessarily, or better programs necessarily.
It's difficult. It's a weird thing. It's a weird, you know, because when we both started around about the same time, writing stuff about the same time, and
we're nearly exactly the same age.
Yeah, and then it was really like, you know, just here you go, have a go. This is your money, go off. Bring something back. So it's and I feel that in the past has created lots of amazing, you know, that's how Monty Python was created. You know, it sort of seems weird that everything's done a bit by committee now, and you're jumping through hoops.
Yeah, it's really weird, and also the money is terrible. I realised recently I would make more money as a failure in America than I am as a success over here. And it's tempting. You go, okay, I can go over to, I could think of it like kind of retirement, and go over to America and consistently fail and make a great living. Or I can stay here and consistently do okay and make a terrible living.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, we had to move to Norwich, you know, not just because we wanted to get out of London, although that was part of it, but also because, you know, we couldn't afford a house that was nice enough that was big enough for me to have an office in there and be away from the family. We were all on top of each other. Yeah. And the house prices were just getting crazy. And that's another thing about the past. Like, there was a time when you could come to London. I don't know how you guys are finding it, but you could come to London and live quite cheaply somewhere. And, you know, we were writing sketches and we were writing stuff for radio. We were getting no money, you know, just little dribs and drabs of money. But we were able to survive, you know. I would sell records because I was a music journalist as well. Yeah. And all these little things kind of carried us through. And I don't know if that would be possible now.
No, I can't imagine it is, you know.
There's nothing to sell. You can't sell MP3s.
No.
You know, so.
Got to give everything away. That's the problem these days. You work hard on something, then it's all... Well, when I say work hard in it, you know, I've written down some stuff in this book this afternoon. Then I just come and chat with people. It's good. So
you know what? That's when I promised Richard I wouldn't talk about anything that I would ask to get cut out. But me complaining about money is probably going to be on the back burner. I don't think people. Oh, I think I'll listen to Graham Linehan complain about how little money he's making. What a relaxing way to spend the afternoon.
It's in. We'll listen to her a little bit. You grew up in just outside of Dublin, or on the outskirts of Dublin?
No, in Dublin.
Dublin, yeah.
Not in the city. I wasn't running around in rags and you know, nailing horses to walls. No.
Did you ever visit...
That's what they do. That's what they do. They get bored with a horse, they nail it to a wall. That was a big phase in Dublin for a while. It didn't end up in the commitments for some reason.
Did you spend much time in the Chester BT Library in Dublin?
In the what?
I can't read my own writing, so it might be called something else.
The Chester VT
Library, Chester BT Library.
No, I don't know what that is.
Did you ever go to the National Leprechaun Museum in Dublin?
That's so disappointing, that place.
The real leprechauns.
There's just one.
Yeah. It's dead and pinned up.
Dead. He's decomposing. The body isn't, you know, it's actually unpleasant.
Did you ever go to the National Wax Museum Plus in Dublin?
Is there one?
Which sounds more interesting. I thought, that's good. It's a museum of wax, like it's going to be the history of wax. But it's like celebrities made out of wax.
Right.
Like it's Madame Tussauds, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's kind of what I assumed it was when you described it.
I was excited.
Oh, what's a wax museum?
I was
candles.
I was booking tickets to go to Dublin to see it until I found out it was just people.
Are you mad?
I love museums.
It's so bad in London. What do you think it's going to be like in Dublin? It's going to be amazing.
It'd be great.
It's going to not look like anyone.
I'd like to see lots of celebrities that I don't really know who they are depicted in wax.
My favourite thing, one of the things that used to obsess me and Arthur, we wrote a few sketches about them, was lookalikes. I'm sure you love it as well.
Yeah, cool.
Like lookalikes, like, they'll have, some guy who looks a bit like, Ray Winston or something. And then they'll have a guy and they'll say, Sherlock Holmes. And it's this guy with a deerstalker hat, and he's with a guy who's got a moustache and a bowler hat. And you're like, that's just the spit of him. How did you do that? But then all the rest are like, you would never know if their names weren't on them, who they were supposed to be. And it's really, you can have hours of fun looking at a lookalikes website. I really recommend it.
Well, we used to look at the stage, the back of the stage used to have loads of adverts for lookalikes.
Yeah.
And so that was the newspaper.
So funny.
When we first came to London, we kind of wanted to, we lived in it was me, Stuart Lee, and a couple of other people lived in this house in Acton together when you could afford to, at £60 a week, I think, each, and it was we were obsessed with that. But then we were going to start our own lookalike agency. I looked a bit like Michael J. Fox. One of our friends looked a bit like Elton John.
Right.
Stu looks like quite a lot of people, so he was quite good for it.
Okay.
But then we were going to go Elton John and Michael J. Fox only available together. If you're looking for Michael J. Fox and Elton John to come to your party together and not interact in any way or have anything worked out. But it was, we used to love that. That was lots of fun.
Some very funny stuff out there.
Happy days.
Those agencies are just gold. We used to, if we ever found a good one, we would try and put him in a sketch. Like there was a guy in Dublin who looked, and I'm not exaggerating, he looked exactly like Harvey Keitel. He looked the spit of him, to such an extent that me and Arthur, when we saw him in a pub, we would just drink and stare at him. And then one day I kind of made some, I pretended he was in the way or something, so he'd talk to me so I could hear what he said, and he was like this really hardcore Dublin accent, and it was simultaneously, disappointing but also great. So we wrote this sketch where there was these two people having dinner, and they're just talking to each other, and then we were going to ask this guy, we were going to fly him over and get him in this one sketch, and the waiter brings him over and he goes, "You're Harvey Keitel, sir." And they go, "Thank you very much," and they leave him at the table and he sits down, and then he goes, "So, how's life?" And he goes, "It's fucking fine, and they go, "Waiter, this Harvey Keitel is Irish." Isn't that a great sketch? Bring me a proper Harvey Keitel.
I don't think we talked about this last time, but it reminds me of the Father Ted Experience guys who are they're doing the John Cleese has found out about the Fawlty Towers one now.
Yeah, they
got cross about it.
Yeah.
But there's people who go around pretending to be the Father Ted characters.
They wait until you've kind of forgotten about it, and then they kind of sneak one on.
Right.
And then you kind of go, "Oh, could you not do that?" And they go, "Oh, sorry, we've already booked the place." You sometimes get letters that go, "Oh, please don't shut us down. We've lost all this," and it's like, just don't do it. Don't keep doing it. It's not like And the thing is, would be fine if they did it for charity or even what's the other thing that would be fine if they did?
Gave you some money.
Gave me some money. Yeah, that would be good.
Got that much. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. But it just it's kind of like, well, people might see that and think it's something to do with us, and it's nothing to do with us.
Well, you absolutely assume it does because it's people using the characters' names and using sort of incidents from...
Someone saying, go on.
Yeah. So using the catchphrases. I mean, it's kind of insane that can happen. On the last podcast, I couldn't believe that the IT crowd had gone to America without your permission. And you've got a very bad agent. You've got a very bad agent.
It kind of happened again.
Yeah.
It kind of happened again.
Oh, did it? What happened?
Well, we went over, tried to... came up... I've always had this kind of... a view of the American IT crowd. I don't think it's worth taking the IT crowd, going over to the States and trying to make the same show.
No.
Because I think it will, first of all, there's no history of surreal sitcoms in America. There is, but they're all single camera. They're not multi-camera. The only surreal sitcoms I can remember, you might be able to remember more, are Soap and Married with Children.
Okay, yeah.
Those, and Married with Children is really broad. So they're the two sitcoms. There's no real... The history of American sitcoms is a history of beautiful set design, realistic characters, brilliantly deep characters.
Yeah.
You look at Cheers, and it's just wonderful. It's so deep and rich. And I thought... And Seinfeld, which is, what the IT crowd was badly trying to copy, you know. But my surreal side just kept coming through, you know what I mean? Because that's my default zone mode. So I thought, well, let's try and make the show that I kind of had in my mind when I started. Because I always thought it'd be more like Seinfeld, it'd be more realistic and stuff. And so we'll make that. We'll bring them up from the basement so that rather than this upstairs downstairs idea, the beautiful people are all around them, you know. Right, yeah. And we'll have a few more characters. We'll have some, beautiful handsome guy and a beautiful woman who are really annoying, and they'll provide conflict and they'll provide storylines, which were always really hard to get going in the IT crowd because people had to go down to the fucking basement to say, hey, I've just come here casually to start a story. But if it's upstairs, you have more of a flow, and it'll be a different show, it'll be an interesting show. And then I thought, well, how about this? How about we make it not just about the IT crowd, but every person who's not considered worthwhile by the other people in the office, like couriers and, people who are kind of overlooked, and that'll be what it's about. Yeah. So I sat there, went there for a week, I worked with these two writers, we got bullet points, every single beat of this story, right? Every single beat. Completely different storyline, completely new characters. Moss and Roy and a dumb boss, and Jen, someone who doesn't know anything about computers, who comes into that world. That was all fine, but everything else was done specifically to fine-tune it so it would work in an American setting, right? Yeah. So I do that, week's work, go home, wasn't paid, go home, about a month later, get a call, we're just going to shoot your original script, we're going to do the pilot. Right. I was like, what? And also we're doing it for Fox. I was like, fuck off. The thing about Murdoch is, if I can avoid it, I will. And the idea that it's a done deal, and I went, no, it ruined my last Christmas. I was so angry all the time, you know. And they literally were just going to do exactly the same thing that the first pilot did, and copy it shot for shot with new actors. Wow. It's like, what do you have to do?
Show them the first one. Say, look, we've done this. It didn't work.
It exists.
It might work this time.
Yeah.
You never know. They're very clever out there in America. They know what they're doing. I'll do this quickly. There's a website called Dirty Britcom Confessions, in which in which comedy fans reveal their sexual fantasies about comedy personages, mainly British comedians. Okay. But there is an international section, right, in which you feature because you are Irish. But so they aren't that good. But there's one. Often these are quite dirty and weird. Okay. Yours are all about how nice and cute you are, and how they'd like to kiss you and stuff. So this is the best one. I wonder how you'd feel about this. Graham Linehan is such an adorable goofball.
That's me.
Is that a good start? Is that a good start? You're such a goofball.
That's how I describe myself to people.
I just want to kiss him all over while he tells me funny stories. Do you think that could work?
I don't think it would work.
It's just I can try it now. Yeah. I can try and kiss you all over, and you see how funny your stories are, and how if you can keep your train of thought.
So I went to America, and then I met the writers.
Well, that's it. So if you're up for that, that is that's. But we're working on a lot.
That's a really tame sex story.
It is. It really is compared.
I thought you were going to go somewhere far more, I don't know, oblique and.
I would have liked to, but I can only work with what the public give me on that one. So believe me, there've been David Mitchell licking mayonnaise off of my entire body was my favourite one. It still brings back lots of memories. You're working on lots of things all the time, so it's difficult to keep up with you and which ones are going to happen and which ones aren't. So I didn't know about the IT crowd again. You're working with Sharon Horgan on and your wife, I think.
On a show called Motherland.
Motherland,
which is about new mums, I guess. Okay. Or mums who are, I don't know, the kids are toddlers. Yeah. We wanted to do something where the kids weren't important.
Yeah.
So we had the idea that every time you heard the kids, it would be like the teacher and Charlie Brown,
Right.
you know? And so they would just be a noise, or you'd just see the tops of their heads.
Yeah.
And of course, then when we got there, it was really hard to do. So, you know, they're in some shots.
Right.
But it's ostensibly about motherhood. I was telling Richard earlier, one of the true stories that the thing we want to do is try and use things that have actually happened, because they seem to be, there's something about true stories. I think Seinfeld had a rule in the Larry David years where they had to be true stories.
Yeah.
And one of the things we heard was there was this nanny who was taking care of a baby, and the mum was driving around town one day and she saw the nanny with the baby begging on a corner. I was like, whoa, that's half an hour.
It's good they're doubling their income, aren't they? Maybe more than doubling.
Yeah.
It'd be bad if they're making more money from the baby than they're making from the mother.
Yeah, maybe the nanny should pay you to take the baby.
They should. If they gave you a cut, it wouldn't be so bad. Yeah. They're looking after your kid, they're getting out your hair.
Yeah. And they're earning. They're bringing in the moolah.
And if you've got, if you've got a nice kid, it's kind of insulting because it's sort of saying that baby could look like it's a homeless person's baby.
Yeah.
Do they dirty the baby
I think it's
up?
a cuteness thing.
Yeah.
It's a cuteness thing.
They're a cute baby. Oh, she looks very well cared for then. So let's move into some emergency questions.
Already?
Yeah, just because they're fun though. It's just, and then because we just have to mix it up a bit.
Okay.
Have you ever been in the vicinity of a Bigfoot but not seen it, but sensed that it's watching you?
No, I haven't. No, sorry.
You sure?
Can't think of a funny answer either. No.
I mean, it's not really an answer. If it's happened, then that's the answer.
William Gibson said a great thing the other day. He said camera phones made UFOs disappear and police violence appear.
That's very true. Lots of people have been nicking my emergency questions, and
it's a shame, though, isn't it? There's a little bit of sadness about that because in the old days, even as recently as the 70s.
Yeah.
But Steven Spielberg made Close Encounters, which I remember when I was a kid was just the most thrilling thing ever. Mm-hmm. But you couldn't really make a film like that now because everyone would just go, well, why isn't it on telly? Why aren't do you know what I mean? Why don't all these people see it on telly? Why isn't it being filmed on camera phones? There's so much stuff that's like that. That's like, you can't, there was an article online about, something like 100 Seinfeld stories that you couldn't do now.
Yeah, because of, just ring each other up and...
Yeah.
I mean, life was, even in the 1990s, if you went to the pub and you were meant to meet someone and they didn't turn up...
That was it.
That was the end of the evening.
That was it, yeah. Because I go home, and now
you could ring them up.
There's 30 other people in the area.
You could ring them up, leave a message on their answer phone saying, I waited at the pub, you didn't turn up. Give me a ring tomorrow and let me know what happened. Yes, we had phones back then.
It's another thing, but it's kind of crazy. That always used to frustrate me when people used to moan about Twitter and Facebook and social networking. I mean, they've all got their problems, I mean, Twitter is actually probably poisonous in a lot of different ways, I'm beginning to realise. But the thing that always bugged me was that people weren't interested in admitting that it had completely changed the human race. Yeah. It's like, don't you find there's a little kind of bit of wonder in you about the fact that we now are all kind of connected telepathically? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, aren't you at all interested in that? And there was all these people about Twitter's shit, why don't you try it? Oh, same reason I don't try street mime, Because, I know it's probably shit. That's like, wow, okay. So no curiosity about this thing that connects every single human being on the planet, I don't know. It's although I wonder, you also think, is all the kind of craziness we're going through at the moment, is that because of...
I sort of feel it's like Twitter's, finally gained sentience and come to life and is a beast that is destroying, because I think all the politics, I think it comes from reality TV and Twitter and I think voting for things like the X Factor has changed the way people's minds work with those things. So people can go on Twitter, Donald Trump can come on and just say the opposite what the truth is. Can defend himself saying, I'm the one standing up for, he's been accused of raping a child, but he's going on about Hillary Clinton's emails all the time. No one's going, well, we're going to just go on things that are accusations, Donald, maybe we can.
But I don't blame Twitter and things for that. I blame the media, the mainstream media, which it's like there's two groups of people now. There's people who are plugged in and know that stuff is happening, bad stuff is happening, and then there's people who are getting their news and information from the usual sources, and they don't know that it's happening, and as a result you get matters of fact treated like matters of opinion. So you'll have someone, this guy, here's Donald Trump, right? And Donald Trump is saying Hillary Clinton killed the Beatles, and then what do you say to that? It's like, no. It's not an argument. She didn't kill the Beatles. You just say, that's a lie. That's a big lie. You're lying. And it's like you do that to everyone. And they didn't do it on Brexit either,
No,
you're fucking lying. Your dad didn't lose his business Gove, you big cunt.
But it works, and it works the other way. It works the other way around. It works the other way around.
I'm not proud of getting a round of applause on the word cunt. Sorry.
I think it works the other way around in that, that people. What was I going to say? I had a great argument there. Lost my train of thought.
Lies.
Well, no, it works the other way. That conspiracy theories are now just accept. So, I think at the moment, what we're experiencing is the Corbyn versus the rest of the Labour Party, and it just becomes this kind of conspiracy thing. So you're on one side of that, and you think. And everyone just goes, oh, that's a conspiracy, or all Labour MPs are Blairites, apart from Corbyn, and or anything that's in fact a conspiracy theory becomes accepted as real.
Everyone thinks the BBC is biased. Every single fucking political group thinks the BBC is biased, and it's like they're not biased. It's just because they're not pointing out facts, and as a result, you think they're biased. But if you point out facts, if you say, like someone said, right-wing news is basically fan fiction. Right? You know what I mean? It's presenting a view of the world that just does not exist. Okay? Whereas news, as it should be, is just facts. And the thing that really annoys right-wingers is that facts are left-wing. No, I'm not the first person to say that. Facts are left-wing. Do you know what I mean? If you increase the amount of information about sex to kids, if you increase the availability of contraception, if you do all this sort of stuff, you will bring down levels of abortion, right? But they don't want to do that because they're more interested in making people, feel bad about themselves. And as a result, the stuff that's been proven is just being ignored. Like same with drug. What's the word? Legislation, it's the same thing. It's some countries and they're doing it and it's working. But that will never happen in England because it's more important to have the appearance of hating these things and just thinking they're, it's just binary.
But it also,
sorry, I'm boring myself.
It's interesting. I think it creates. I think it validates you, whatever you think. The internet, it's whoever you are, whatever you think, whatever perversity you have, it suddenly validates you because you realise there are other people out there like you. So I think the rise of UKIP and the rise of that and the Brexit thing comes from people going, and maybe that's good or bad, whichever way you look at it. But there's people coming together via that, and then I think that's where it becomes where that turns into reality and awful things happen where someone does, where awful crimes are committed as a result of people being emboldened by other people agreeing with them online. So it creates those echo chambers, which I don't think is very helpful. That's the problem. You don't hear the other side. And if you try to, today I had an argument, and I don't really know what I think about the Labour Party, but I'm kind of interested in debating it. But if you try and talk to anyone about it, it's just very much like, no, I'm all for Corbyn, and it's everyone else is against Corbyn, and Corbyn is great, and everything else is evil. There's no is there any suggestion that he might be bad for the Labour Party? Absolutely. No, he's not. So you get into those things, and then you just get frustrated talking to each other because you're not going to change each other's minds.
Yeah. It's not the right place for these things. But I think that a lot of I would imagine a lot of newspapers, journalists, and broadcast journalists are depressed because they think they're being usurped by all this technology. Whereas, in fact, they're more important than ever because they can dive down into the facts and they can present the facts to people.
Yeah.
Like there's a thing on BBC. They have a BBC reality check, and it's a Twitter feed, and I was thinking, only politics nerds will follow this feed.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be on a feed. It should be on the news. Reality. This is what happened. This is what he said. This is the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sorry.
Well, I mean, it's incredible. The whole Brexit thing's incredible. The number of lies that, actually, I had an argument with someone saying, well, there were lies on both sides, and I said, well, what are the lies from the from the Remain side?
Yeah.
And he said, well, David Cameron said there will be World War III if we leave. I said,
well,
did
what
he?
time is it?
I said, and he was going, it hasn't happened yet. That's what I was saying. Like, things already seem to be going quite bad economically. It would suggest that this was, those economic experts were correct. But I'm prepared to give it some time and see what happens. But then someone else came in and said, well, actually, I think David Cameron made a comment about national security. That I think he said that Europe is safer from World War as a result of being together, which is obviously true. Yeah. And then the exit people said, David Cameron's saying that there'll be World War III. The guy who was quoting me this fact after I said to him, just come back with one fact. He said, one lie that they've told. It took him ages. He said, I'm not going to trawl the internet for find. I'm not asking you to trawl the internet, just find one. And then he said, they came back with this. And I said, can you tell me what speech is? I'm not going to go and trawl the internet to find out what speech the thing I've just made up has come from. But it turned out it was a lie from the exit people anyway. So when you're dealing with stuff like that...
But it was Cameron.
Cameron,
so it's slightly different. I mean, I can't get.
Yeah, but he hadn't actually said it, so he hadn't actually lied.
Oh, it was a lie that he said.
It was a lie that the exit people had said that he had talked it up into a lie, and he hadn't ever said anything like that.
Right.
He basically said it'd be more peaceful if.
All you need is a kind of reality check. He said this. This is true. Like Trump is just amazing. I mean, Trump, the lies that he's broken through so many barriers of discourse, of political discourse that it's almost like a bull has run through a stable and created this huge hole through each part of it, and you're just looking down. Oh, look, you could just walk up there now. And that's what it's going to be like for all these politicians in the future. They're just going to be able to lie, and then they know that the BBC will go, or whatever news channel it is, because the balance thing is everywhere. RTE had to recently apologise for something I did with my wife, because we went over to speak about our experience of fatal fetal abnormality. We had our first pregnancy. It didn't happen, and luckily we were in the UK, and the NHS, told us what to do about it. You can't get that in Ireland, And so we talked about it on this show, and RTE had to apologise because there wasn't an opposing view telling us that my wife should have born the child for 9 months and then watched it die as soon as it was born. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like balance as a concept has become completely used by the right wing to poison the national conversation.
Yes. No, I think it has, but also because it makes good TV, but also because you sort of think you're getting a balance. You'll take someone, even if you have a balanced thing, it'll be someone from UKIP, it'll be someone from the left of Labour, and maybe one person from the middle.
Yeah.
But if the truth is, most people are somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely.
I'm just making up, but say 70% are in the middle, and there's 15% either side. If every debate you have a UKIP person and a left-wing person, that's massively misrepresenting that view, and then therefore, the people in the middle, who's most people who I think would like to, that's what I sort of feel with all of this. Most people, even if they voted whichever way they voted in the Leave and Remain thing, would like some way of sorting it out so everyone's happy.
Well, this is what I don't know whether there's. I don't think a second referendum is in any way realistic. I've been following it a little bit, and it seems that it's not. But the thing that really annoys me about the referendum is that it wasn't fought on facts, and as a result, no one really knew what was going to happen. And you can see this, like, I never saw a single piece, article about what would, I'm sure there were some, but they should have been much more spread about. Like, what would happen to Northern Ireland when we left the EU? Because the border's going to go back up, and you're going to have soldiers searching people as they go across the border. the same way that it used to. You're going to have a lot of pissed off people in the north who want to be part of Ireland, and there's no more free movement. You're going to have a lot of pissed off people in the south for the same reason, you know? Yeah. And it's crazy that I only saw an article about this after the fucking vote went through.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about it. I'm Irish and I hadn't even thought about it.
Well, they really got the debate going after it had happened. they really started putting everything
It kicked up a notch.
It did. And everyone went, oh God, it would be quite bad if we left. If they give it another chance, let's not vote for that again. But yeah, I mean, but also everyone voted for different things. So lots of people vote. Some people were voting because they want sovereignty, whatever that means, and they believe that we don't have that. Some people were voting because they thought that the immigrants were going to leave. I think they thought leave meant that immigrants leave.
Yeah.
And that's generally definitely the case, at least for some people.
They had those trucks that said go home.
Yeah,
Theresa May had trucks around that said go home. So posters that say leave may well be part of that same campaign.
Yeah.
You know?
So none of those people are going to get exactly what they want
fuckers.
anyway. So now there should be a referendum saying what were you expecting from the leave, and let's have a vote about that. But no one's actually going to get what they want. I think from it. So it's a real. I mean, it's such a disaster. Whichever side you're on, it's just awful.
It's interesting that Theresa May has placed herself. Apparently today, she said we've said we're leaving. Let's make it work. And I kind of think that might be an opportunity because you need a centrist party who says, fuck you, no, we're going to represent all the people who voted to stay and the people who wish they'd voted to stay.
Yeah.
You know? And
it would be good if that could be set up in time, but
that's true.
But as you see, within the Labour Party, they can't even agree between itself what it thinks the Labour Party is. Yeah, so that's a starting point.
I joined Labour because of Corbyn, thinking, oh, this is great, but now I'm beginning to get very nervous with it. Because, I don't know, they seem to be fighting battles of the 70s and 80s. Rather than fighting what's going on now. And people say, well, he's got a Snapchat account. I don't think that makes... I think he's...
But I think the whole country's, we've done a good night's sweetheart on our country. But we said only Gary Sparrow is staying in the present and everyone else has
Why are you obsessed with
I just am obsessed with... I love sort of time travel stuff, but especially when it's wrong, though, So I'm infuriated by it.
Right.
And want it to be properly done.
Yeah.
And I like Good Night Sweetheart. Because I think it's a missed opportunity, because I think it's really interesting if you could travel back in time and know you could have an affair with someone and know you would never be caught, would you feel guilty, or would you still feel guilty about it?
Does your wife listen to the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I wouldn't want to do it, but he's not conflicted in the...
My problem is I'd go back in time and I would have the affair, and then I'd come back and I'd tell my wife about it. Because I'd be crying, I'm so sorry.
Exactly. He isn't conflicted, he isn't upset about it particularly. Yeah. He isn't going great either. So I think there's a real interesting psychological thing in whether a human being, if they knew they couldn't get caught, would they still feel guilty? And it would depend on the person. So.
I have a weird recurring dream.
Yeah.
Where it's not the same dream, but I have the same history in the dream.
Right.
And the history in the dream is that I have had an affair.
Right.
So I'm in this dream and I'm going, okay, I've had an affair. So I haven't told Helen about it. Why haven't I told Helen and stuff? And then I wake up and the new reality is like, oh no, I haven't. I have to kind of talk. Have I had an affair? No. And yeah, but it's a really weird thing. It's like I've got a history in a dream.
It is weird when those, because sometimes I think, did I just have a very long dream where it felt like that was, but there were dreams that sort of refer back to other dreams.
To past.
And so you sort of believe in the reality of it.
Yeah. Do you remember when you wore the cheese hat?
Well, I once had a dream that, as a kid, I'd murdered a small girl and buried her in the hills in Cheddar.
Wow.
And I woke up and I thought, did I do that? I had to really think hard, and then I wonder if I did do it, and I've repressed it apart from in that. I was a kid as well. It wasn't like I was, so it was a kid killing another kid, and then my dad helping me to bury her in the hills. No, I haven't been caught, have we? This could be the moment. I don't remember any little kids go missing. No. But it was Somerset. People didn't probably know how many kids they had.
Have you looked at papers near where you used to
live? But I often have those kind of weird dreams where you.
Yeah, history. Maybe it comes with age. I mean, you're 49. I'm nearly 50. like 50 next year. But like maybe you.
I'm 48 actually, Graham. I'm 49 tomorrow.
Oh,
so let's
maybe you develop.
clinging on to
Maybe you develop a kind of a kind of parallel history in your dreams. Like maybe that's a persistent thing now for you. In all the rest of your dreams. Oh yeah, I'm Richard Herring, I'm a comedian, I killed a kid.
Got away with it. Then I opened my big mouth. But it was also, this is probably a dream, right? So, as long as this is within, if this is within the dream.
That's a great moment, that doesn't happen a lot. But when it does, sorry, did I interrupt you?
No,
sorry, sometimes I'm so tired, I just bliss out. But like, that's a brilliant moment in a dream where you are in terrible trouble and then you realise it's a dream.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling. Oh God, like you've killed a kid and you're like, oh, I haven't. Phew.
I've had dreams that I've realised it's a dream, but then I'm not being able to wake up and not being able to escape it. And
really?
Then, I've had lucid dreams occasionally. I had one really long dream that I kept waking up, but then I was still asleep.
Oh, right. My experience of that was kind of pleasant. I've had lucid dreams where I've kind of realised this is a dream. I'll have a look around.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask you another. It was good. That emergency question worked very well. I can't remember what it was, but whatever.
It's interesting that you like. Do you like high concept sitcoms then?
I sort of enjoy them if they don't work as well. So as I was saying to you, I watched Zoolander 2 the other day, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even enjoyable terrible, but as a writer, you watch it and go, I've just finished my second draft of the script that I'm writing, which is about alternate universes, and it's basically Sliding Doors and Goodnight Sweetheart put together, but done properly, hopefully. I'll be very furious with myself if it comes out wrong. But then I watched Zoolander 2 and thought, oh, my script is definitely better than this.
There used to be, when we were first writing comedy, we used to see there was a certain program that kept winning BAFTAs.
Right.
And we used to have what we called the radiator test, which was when I was a kid, story within a story, but when I was a kid at school, there used to be these radiators during the winter, and you used to, because we were so bored out of our heads, we would sit on these radiators and see how long we could stand it. We used to do the radiator test with this program, with this BAFTA-winning program, and we would last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we just could not bear the style of comedy, and it was such a great thing. There was always the shows that you wanted to emulate, but also there were these other shows that were winning BAFTAs. Yeah. And you go, I can do better than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's sort of interesting with
it's
Hollywood.
Good to have good stuff and bad stuff.
It is
pushing you and pulling you.
So I think, and I think to be able to, if you really sort of start analysing those things, you start seeing the good in them as well as the bad in them, unless they are really terrible.
No.
The only good joke in Zoolander 2 is it takes a long time to pay off. Is that Owen Wilson, who's like it just looks like he's phoning everything in now. He doesn't care about anything.
Yeah. It's a shame because he's a wonderful comic actor.
He's amazing. Yeah. But he's in a relationship with an orgy, so he's in a relationship with 11 people.
Oh, that's funny.
But then they all become pregnant. And Keith the Sutherland, it's very much let's have a celebrity instead of a joke, as I was saying to you.
Right.
Keith the Sutherland is one of the orgy people, and he has his pregnancy test as well, and he's pregnant as well. It's not yet to the funny bit, and so it's hilarious because he's a man. Keith the Sutherland is pregnant with Hansel's child.
Right.
There's a spoiler coming up here. I contend that Zoolander 2 writers and directors have already spoiled this film, so it's okay. But at the end, and he falls out with his orgy, and he has an affair with another orgy. And it sounds like brilliant. It sounds good when I'm describing it. Yeah. It's not a bad idea. But then at the end, Keith Sutherland comes back, and the orgy come back, and they're all going. And he says, "I'm ready to my responsibility to look after my kids." And Keith Sutherland says, "I lost my baby." And it's so inappropriate.
That's a great line. That's a really funny line.
He looks really sad.
I lost my baby. I love that.
He's going, it's okay, and we'll bring up the other 10. It's just...
If only they put those 2 little beats on YouTube and you could not have to watch the film.
Yeah. But it's sort of, it's amazing when you
Have
see
you ever seen the Red Letter Media deconstruction of, what's it called?
Star Wars.
No, not Star Wars. That's the famous one. They did one of the Adam Sandler drag comedy.
Yeah, Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill, and that's apparently extraordinary.
Yeah, it is. I'm obsessed with Adam Sandler films.
Yeah.
In fact, we talked about them in the last podcast, I think, including Jack and Jill. But yeah, it's amazing. But that's amazing.
You should watch this review. You love it. I mean, they basically accuse him of fraud.
Yeah.
Because they say these movies cost, 50 million to make, and there is like $500,000 on screen, and the rest is shared out amongst all his actor friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a brilliant moment in it where they go, in a movie like this, right? The scene you would expect to see would be a scene when both of them are in the same shot. And he goes, but that doesn't happen. He says, maybe that happens once. He says, but that's just, they don't, it's too hard to do. It's going to be expensive. So every single shot in Jack and Jill is shot of Adam Sandler and then shot of Adam Sandler dressed up talking to Adam Sandler. Because they just couldn't be arsed. And Pacino's in it for no reason. Going like this at her and her going back. And I guess they assume the audience is going to think that's the funniest fucking thing ever. But anyway, sorry, I'm ruining it. Watch the Red Letter Media thing. It's brilliant. It's really, really good.
But that is, it's almost a sign of, it doesn't, I mean, I think maybe, I've heard the Absolutely Fabulous film is very good and that is full of celebrity cameos. But it's almost like, I can't think of anything, let's just get Susan Boyle walking through.
Yeah. No, it is bad.
It's hilarious, Susan Boyle's like that for no, and like,
when that joke when people go, hello Susan Boyle, where they say the full name for some reason. It's like, okay. All right, let's move on.
Anyway, don't bother renting Zoolander 2 if you haven't watched it already. Has anyone watched Zoolander 2? Yeah. One man. Did you enjoy it? No. It was pretty disappointing, wasn't it? I mean, they didn't have, even if they'd just done a very run-of-the-mill repeat of the first one. The first one's pretty good.
I don't know.
Even if they just were.
I think I'm as I say, I'm 50 nearly, and I don't really have enough time left to be spending even a second watching a film like Zoolander 2. You know what I mean? I mean, you can smell it. You can smell how bad it is before it arrives. I'm really surprised you watched it.
I didn't. I thought it would be okay. I like Ben Stiller, and I thought he would. I thought he would have more self-respect.
Yeah. I just do a quick Google search, see the general tenor of the reviews. Nope, not for me. Because it's really bad as well. Critics praising stuff that's not good. That's also a waste of. That's really bad. You see films that have been pumped up and they're just terrible, and also films that are being misrepresented. Like I used to love a film, Stranger Than Paradise by Jim Jarmusch. It's John Lurie and this other guy, who's a brilliant actor who you'd know if you saw him. He's been in a bunch of things, and they're just these two kind of beatnik guys, and this kind of cousin of theirs from Russia or somewhere comes in, and it's just really sweet. It's slow moving. It's long takes. It's black and white, and it's kind of boring, right? But it's nice. It's a nice film. And then I saw on the poster it said funniest film of the year. No, it's not, you fucking liar. And what happens is that you go and you have a bad experience because you were expecting the funniest film of the year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I hate that. Sorry.
But
That had on Happiness as well. Happiness. Remember Happiness? Yeah. Happiness. Funniest film of the year. No, it's funny, but it's not the funniest film of the year. It's really disturbing.
Okay, I'm going to ask you an emergency question. I've been copying them off other people now because people copy mine, and so here are some of the ones that I've nicked. And at least I'm crediting who's nicked them. Lifehacks.io. If you could jump into a pool of something, what would it be?
Chocolate. I don't know what to. Sorry, man. Can you warn me about a couple of these?
I'm not this.
I might come up with something good.
No, it's good when you
This
can't.
isn't going to be as good as the Armando one, believe me.
That is
if we keep down this road.
It's better that you went chocolate. That's seeing a great comedy mind at work there. And that is all part of it. MarshallJonesJr.com. Have you ever tried sushi?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. I only realised how good it was quite late in life. And then I realised, it's the most delicious thing in the world. It's amazing. because you think rice and fucking fish.
Yeah, raw fish.
It's Dr. Steve Brule bit where he eats sushi for the first time. He just kind of spits it out, laughs at the idea of it. I'm not a kitty cat. Anyway, sorry. Dr. Steve Brule is. Are anyone fans in that? Yeah, good. Sorry.
Oh, this is.
I don't know what kind of crowd you are. I can't really see.
This one is a new one I have to ask from last week's podcast. It won't mean much to you, but I still want you to answer it.
Okay.
Who would you rather died, Windsor Davies or Matthew Crosby's wife?
Who would I rather die?
Died, yeah. Windsor Davies from Never the Twain Shall Meet. He's still alive, I think.
Is he still alive? We had him in Paris.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah. I was so excited. I was so happy about it.
I think he's still alive. He came up last week. I've never ascertained, but let's say he is still alive. I think he is. Or Matthew Crosby's wife. Matthew Crosby is a comedian from Pappy's Fun Club.
Right.
His wife's a nice young person. She's a very pretty, very talented producer.
This is kind of like if you could save save a child or the works of Shakespeare from a
it is a little
house. Bit. So really,
but,
you want me to say the man who's lived his full life and is nearly dead anyway.
I want to.
No, I'm going to go for the wife.
I think it's probably the right choice.
I felt you manipulating me. I didn't like it.
And this is the one I wrote today. Where do you stand on transubstantiation?
I'm against it.
Oh, yeah. Good. So you still script doctor? You used to script doctor for films and other people. Do you do that sort of stuff anymore?
No, it's really hard work to get because I think you have to. I genuinely am thinking of writing a play, an original play, just so people will respect me. Because when you're a sitcom writer, you might as well be a fucking birthday clown, as far as studios are concerned,
Yeah.
Oh, this guy, you should try him. He's bozo. He really walks around. He parks his nose. He's got big feet. He's great. You make him do a third draft, and we'll be fine. But I would usually get children's films. I did. Right. Did I tell you what I did?
No.
I did Agent Cody Banks 2.
Okay.
And you'll like this. I did a scene where all the kids played. War, what is it good for? And the Queen got down. I wrote a scene that had that in it because I knew they'd love it. I knew that they're going to think this is the best thing. The Queen, war, what is it good for? And the Queen doing this. Brilliant. Here's 10 grand. I mean, really, it's the easiest job in the world because that's one reason why I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Because American films are genuinely often, if they need a writer to come in at a certain stage, are often very badly written. Yeah. I mean, some are okay, and also a lot of the heavy lifting has been done. They've got a story with a beginning, middle, and end. That's fine. But the only thing you ever have to do when you do a rewrite is you just have to do the show don't tell thing.
Yeah.
I mean, are people familiar with show don't tell as a concept? Right, okay. So, that's all you have to do. Someone comes... No? Okay.
I quite like not doing it, though.
That's a percentage.
Let's not tell them.
No.
Show them.
That's a percentage of your audience at home as well. So we've got to do it. Show don't tell means if I was writing a scene where I got angry with Richard here, I don't write, I'm very angry with you. I write, I kick the table, he kicks the table over and smashes Richard in the face. That's showing that I'm angry rather than telling. And that's what every script lacks. It's full of people telling each other the story, And all you have to do is go in and say, well, how do I turn that into a dramatic, moment? And it's just kind of easy because as I say, all the heavy lifting has been done.
Yeah.
And it's really lucrative. You get a load of money, you don't put your name on it, and, you do quite well. But I only get asked to do children's movies and movies set in Ireland. They asked me to do that one. Oh God, they begged me to do it. It was a romantic comedy with
Leap Year.
What?
Leap Year.
Is that the one in Ireland? Yeah, the Amy thingy. Yeah, Leap Year. They begged me to do Leap Year. And I saw the trailer and there was a line in it.
Is the bloke still in there trying to beg you to do it? It's Leap Year! Will you do it, Graham? Will you do it? Isn't it out? I don't care, come back and do it!
But there was a line in it and they were going, and it was something like, wait a second, we're going to have to drive all the way from Wales to Dublin? You know? And I thought, wow, that's what I would have had to do. That's what I would have done on the rewrite. I would have just crossed that out.
You're putting our car on a ferry for quite a long time.
So, you know. But, you know, I had to start saying no to that type of stuff because the only thing I said yes to recently was I just did a tiny, tiny bit of work, like a day on Paddington. And I have to say, I didn't really realise from the script how charming it would be. I saw the script and I thought, well, this is just going to be one of those... I should have had more faith in Paul, because Paul's brilliant. He does the Mighty Boosh and stuff, you know. But it looked like, on paper, it just looked like one of these quick cash-in, Pudsey the Dog type movies. But it was really beautiful,
it was nice,
you know. Yeah.
Well, I'll put that down to you, stepping in and turning it around for them. So, what else?
No, I really didn't do anything. I can't remember what I did. I may have corrected a misspelling.
Oh, you tweeted me to tell you that you mentioned cryptically your son's text about the bear.
Oh shit! Have I turned off my phone? Oh no! I'm gonna have to wait for this to charge.
We can film.
Yeah, no, I'll do that. I'll tell you about the other thing.
Yeah.
Which was my Twitter joke that I couldn't tweet because A, it's not really my style, so lots of people would think it was serious, and B, something I'll explain in a sec. But the joke was. Racists are in a race, all right. A race to the bottom. Right? That was my joke. I wanted to do it with the exclamation mark and everything. And then I thought, no, everyone's going to think I'm serious for one thing. Because I kind of stopped doing jokes on Twitter.
Yeah.
And the other thing I realised was, you know, I literally had it and ready to go, and I was thinking about it. Well, should I do this? Should I not? And then I heard that a place near us had been firebombed because the family were Polish.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, oh, okay, I can't really do this joke at the moment because racism is suddenly not funny.
Yeah.
It's suddenly not this abstract thing that you can poke, like the way you and I would often poke a thing like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you fucking hell, you dressed as Hitler for you.
Exactly.
You can poke this stuff, but would you dress as Hitler for a year now?
Funnily enough, I did. I'm doing a best of show.
You might get people following you down the street.
Well, I did I'm doing a best of show for my next tour, and one of my favourite routines is from that Hitler Moustache show, which is about how racists are actually more liberal than liberals because they believe there's only 4 types of people in the world, whereas liberals believe there's 195 different types of people in the world. So they're closer to seeing everyone in the world as being the same. They're 191 closer.
Right.
But than liberals, and that's what we want. And it's quite a carefully crafted routine. But again, it was A, the first time I'd done it for a long time, so I was still trying to remember it. But B, it sort of starts with me going, you know, I got this moustache, and I was worried maybe the moustache was what made it Hitler racist, because I'm not a racist, but... you know, when I had the moustache, I wondered if maybe racists had a point. And usually, you're getting a laugh, and everyone's going, where's he going with this? And then then the routine's quite carefully explained, but it uses some of the racist language in it. And it's, you know, I'm very proud of the routine, but it was a very, very different atmosphere doing it. And it didn't work at all, whereas it always worked before, and it didn't work. And I think that might just be now, and that hopefully it will pass. But yeah, it was. I mean, that whole show. I did then a big bit of saying, that whole show was actually about how we should vote to stop right-wing politicians gaining prominence. So that fucking worked.
Right. I think I have this for you now. This is a verbatim text from my son. I checked it with my wife. I know you always see these things online. Oh, my cute son said this, and it never seems to be true. But I checked it with my wife, and I do trust her. So she swore that this was true. He said. His sister, Wendy had a toy panda that she chucked onto the floor, so I picked it up and put it in my bed. I noticed it was on its side, so I put it upright. Then it fell head first. I noticed behind his buns there was a pound. That's it. There's no more. I love that story. I said that we were working with Brona Gallagher, and Brona Gallagher said, maybe it's a money box or something. Which I thought, no, it's like the bear has had money behind its balls. Sorry, it seems funnier when my wife. Could it be my children's antics aren't as interesting to other people? No, it's the audience who are wrong.
It always is. I read an interview that said you were interested in German board games. Is that true?
German. No, the thing is, board games.
Why did you say it if it's not true?
Because I like that without the word German in front
Why
of
did
it.
it have German in the interview? Why did it say German board games?
Possibly because it was long ago and it was at a time where the only board games you could get were in German. So
What time was this?
about 10, 15 years ago.
What about Monopoly?
Oh no, not fucking Monopoly. These are good games with.
What kind of board games do you play?
At the moment, I play a card game called Netrunner, which is like a 2-player game that I play in clubs with nerds.
Yeah.
And I play, there's just some great games out there.
So they're kind of more complicated things than...
Yeah, the problem with them is there's a little barrier you have to get through, which is explaining the rules to people, which people fucking hate. And so it's really hard to get a group together because everyone just hates that bit.
Yeah.
Because you go, no, you can't do that. You have to move the red counter to there unless you want to do that. And then if you want to do that, you have to roll a 6, and then you can play that card. Or what do the cards mean? Well, okay. And it's just terrible. But the thing is, like everything else online, it's all made easier now by videos. You know, you can watch a video. I just send a video to people and say, watch this, and,
right.
and it'll take you through it, and then we can play.
That's good.
It's good. It is good.
I was playing, my daughter's who's 17 months old. Very cute. I could tell you a few stories about her. She's got her first board game, which is it's a big dice with all different colours on it, and you roll them, and then you pick up a card, and you have to do what it says on the card. And I felt that was too. I was almost like, this is too complicated. As we started putting together, this looks difficult, but it was easy. You just have to go red, make a smiling face.
Right.
That was easy. It was actually easier than it looked. My daughter didn't really like it.
There's a beautiful one called Shadows in the Forest, I think it is,
right.
and it is a German game. And you play with a tea light, and you put it on the board, and there's all these trees, so it casts these shadows as the tea light moves along.
Okay.
And the kids can move anywhere as long as they're within a shadow. But if the tea light catches them, if the light from the thing catches them, they're out again. It's beautiful. It's just a lovely game. Yeah.
And you still play? I played last time I saw you. We were playing poker with each other.
Yeah,
about a year ago.
That's strange idea.
We both got knocked out first. I think we were the best, but we both got knocked out. That's the problem with poker.
Well, someone beat me by. Oh no, this is poker. Sorry.
Let's go through the whole thing. But are you still playing a lot of poker, or just...
No, I used to like playing online, and it seems to have. I used to like single player tournaments or 10-player tournaments, and I can't really do that anymore. I don't really know a good site that allows you to. Is there a good one?
I haven't been playing very much online at all, really. Yeah.
Also, there were a few cheating stories that made you think, oh, what are we doing? We're sitting at home thinking that no one's cheating. I mean, this is real money, and of course they're cheating, you know. So. Yeah,
the bubble burst of it. We did a pilot that was which seemed a little bit too late in the day to take on a poker TV show. It might come back. You never know. Got some free headphones. Did you get your headphones? Did they send you some headphones?
Oh no, they didn't.
Bad luck. Yeah. Oh yeah. Could have sold them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like, but I still love poker. It's a beautiful
amazing
little game. Yeah.
But it's frustrating because you can be the best at it, as I am, and never win.
Yeah.
That can't be true. All right, it's nearly time to let you go home and do some work, I think. But I will. I'm going to ask you.
Ask me about Count Arthur.
Oh yes, I was going to ask you about. I will ask. What about?
Please watch it.
What about old Count Arthur then?
My friend, at the moment, I had a brilliant experience. Someone getting off a train who met me, and it was one of these ones that every time someone says, "Oh, are you Graham Linehan?" and I go, "Yeah," and they go, "This guy went, I'm such a fan. I just love your stuff." And I go, "Oh, right, well," he says. And then they go, "So what are you working on at the moment?" And you suddenly realise there's something about the tone of the question that means I haven't watched one of your programmes since Father Ted. So you go, "What are you working on at the moment? After Dermot died, what did you do next?" And it's like, I'm doing the 3rd series of Count Arthur Strong, And this guy, and I said, you should watch it. And this guy goes, "Is it any good?" Well, it's not my sort of thing, but sorry. Actually, that's a steal. I stole that joke from Simon. Think of it, Simon.
Oh yes.
Blackwell. Simon said that someone did that to him once. They said, "Is it any good?" He said, "It's not my sort of thing." He wrote, but but yeah, you know, it's kind of an experiment in seeing if it is possible to write a mainstream half-eight type sitcom that isn't shite.
Yes, yeah. And do you direct this as well? Do you,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, you know you're
Doing it today.
Yeah.
I have to rewrite it tonight.
Right. And so you're working on one episode this week?
I heard a story about you. I heard on
It's not true.
I heard Richard Bowden, my producer,
Oh, yes, yeah.
who was your producer. He said you would not know a story at the start of the week, and you would write the whole story in the week and film it on Friday night.
Yeah,
in front of
well,
an
it
audience.
was something like Thursday to Thursday, but yeah, on Time Gentlemen Please.
How are you still alive?
It was difficult, but I was young. I couldn't do it now, but it was a younger man, and you
Right.
know, it was weird because we did I basically wrote a whole American style series more or less on my own. And we got nine. We got 9 more in the middle, so it was 13, and then another 9 added on. So I had to write 9 episodes in 10 weeks.
Why didn't you try and write 6 episodes in 20 weeks?
Because we didn't have time. Because we'd spent like the first script I probably spent a month and a half on, and then the second, you know, we worked on about 6 of them to begin with, and we had a series of 13, and then but literally we were recording them, and then they said we want another 9, and you know, and then there's all these people who then get that 9 weeks more work and all this other stuff, and you know, and we were getting paid really well for that. We got paid really good money for it, and so you know, and I was young and I was kind of keen, and I write, and you know, I think they were good. I think the ones I wrote in a week weren't any better or worse than the ones I wrote.
Really?
Yeah, I think they were. Cause
I have to have a story. I have to have a really strong story the week we start. I have to know at least what the story is.
I kind of like discovering the stories I write.
No,
and
that's
so
insane.
Well,
That's insane.
Then you get to something that surprises you a bit, I think.
Absolutely, but then you rewrite it when the thing that surprises you has appeared, and you plant the fucking thing at the start of the episode, so that when it comes, it doesn't feel random. But do you know what I mean? I mean, I totally agree that there's a spontaneous but I think there's a kind of happy medium.
Definitely. I mean, writing 1 in a week, or writing 9 in 10 weeks, as I did, is not a happy medium. I worked very well to deadline, so it was insane. I was dating someone in the show as well, but I wasn't. So I was completely in the show.
Like an idyllic couple of weeks.
and it was literally all. So basically, they would record them on the Thursday, I think. I'd start working on I'd finish the last one and then start on the next one on the Tuesday. By the Friday, I'd have something for them to read. Then I'd go away over the weekend and rewrite that, and the Monday I'd have something to read. Then I'd rewrite it and then on Tuesday they'd have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to get
rehearse.
ready.
Yeah.
And, we were rehearsing a bit on the Monday as the bits that we knew, but it worked quite because it was up and running a bit. The second series was really easy to write, and we didn't have any of those kind of problems. We had 15 in the second series, and because you got the characters all established and you know it, we were a bit more prepared. But I found it very easy to write them. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of that series, but no one really ever saw it. So, but it paid for me to have a nice house in London. So there we go, or at least the beginning of a nice house in London. So it's it was. I did like 6 years work in 2 years, I would say.
Right.
And it was well paid work, so it kind of set me up.
It's funny, you can't really do. I've recently realised that I'm gonna have to, for my health, I'm gonna have to stop doing studio sitcoms soon, because they're so cumbersome and slow. I mean, they're like you rehearse them during the week, which is all fine, and then on the night you got 3 hours to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it in the 3 hours, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can move a scene onto the next week, but that will create a domino effect, and you won't be able to get something further down the line. And it's so stressful. I stand there, and every time, like the first time there's a boob, the audience laughs, and you go, it's so funny, you made a mistake. And but after 1 hour of that, you go, if he fucking does that again, I'm gonna fucking kill him. And stop laughing at him. Stop laughing at him. It's like that. It's crazy. And I just don't think I went through a period because we had to write, far less than your output on Time Gentlemen Please, but we had to write 6 episodes in about 2 months.
Yeah.
And they were rewrites. Sorry, I better have some water. They were rewrites, so it was not too bad.
Yeah.
But I still got some kind of shoulder problem as a result, and now I have to see a fucking masseuse every week.
Right.
Because the back muscles have seized up. The ones on the back aren't doing their job. And
I mean, it's incredibly stressful. And
it comes on when I'm watching the show.
Yeah.
When I'm watching it being made, I go like, at the end of the evening, I'm like the fucking Phantom of the Opera.
But after I wrote Time Gentlemen Please, it burnt me out, and then I've never really written anything again since. But
that's why you should never.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do, but I think that's the good thing about being young human. I mean, I'm sort of got a pilot scripted now, and part of me is thinking, oh God, if they make it, I've got to write 6.
Yeah.
So it's like you're kind of going, oh.
That's how Larry David apparently felt on Seinfeld.
Right.
Every series, he just never thought he could do it again.
Yeah.
But I kind of realised that, one of the things I've always lived by is that if you believe that the well of inspiration is very shallow, it will be. But if you believe it's deep, that will also be true. And as a result, I've been able to. I have to say, rehearsing is now quite fun because I used to on a Monday, because you're comparing it to the one you've just done when you've done a week's work on it.
Yeah.
On the Monday, you read a script that you thought was in great shape, and it's just shit.
Yeah.
Or you put it on its feet, and you realise, oh, no one can move. He can't move over there because this thing is happening, so I have to rewrite this so he can move over to that part of the set.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it seems like a lot of work, and it used to really upset me. And I used to go home, and I used to work till 4 a.m, and just really upset, thinking, I have to fix this. But then I realised recently that, sorry, this is very technical, I hope it's interesting, but I realised recently we have a whiteboard, and anytime I come to a problem, I write it on the board, and then during the week we just cross them off one by one. So on Tuesday there'll be 9, on Wednesday there'll be 5 left.
Yeah.
And then there's usually 1 or 2 that you can leave till the night of the show, and there's something about the adrenaline and the excitement of doing the show that these jokes just pop out, It's brilliant, it's such a nice... I'm really enjoying it.
But that's what I get from stand-up, I think, is that I now write my stand-up shows on stage, more or less. I go on with some ideas, but I improvise them, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
The stuff. That's why I find writing scripts hard now, because coming on stage, you're doing it for a few nights, you'll knock together a routine in a couple of weeks pretty easily. But also, the power of that, the deadline, the very real deadline of being on stage and having to say something, means you come up with a phrase or a joke that you could sit down and try and write for weeks, and you would never come up with it, and you come up with it straight away. So that inspiration, I still get it from working. I've never been, the deadline, I'm terrified of missing deadlines, and I hardly ever miss them, but I have to be very close to it, and then I'll suddenly be inspired and stuff will come out. So it worked quite well for me, that Time Gentlemen Please thing, but it was sort of tough, but partly also we just, I for the first time I earned some money because we'd been doing the double act, and that sort of paid off. That by the end of that 10 years we were back even basically. Right. And then I suddenly had 2 years of really hard work where I earned more money than I needed to live off, and it sort of set me up. So I think partly I got to the end of that and thought, why have I worked so hard on stuff that nobody's ever heard of? Yeah. And so I'm not going to do, So I had a couple of years where I kind of just, it wasn't really that I burnt out. It was just I was thinking, what's the point? Yeah. And I've got some money now, so what's the point? So I bought a house that was too big for me, and then I had to carry on working. It's a brilliant plan.
To pay for the house,
I've got to keep paying the mortgage, haven't you? Anyway, look, I can see you've picked up your coat, and it's...
No, I swear to God that was just a coincidence.
I think it's... I can pick up these little signals. The years of doing this. It's been like, thank you so much for coming in without bloody Armando Iannucci ruining it all.
No worries. I'd gladly do it again, Rich, anytime you want. I love it. Really
there's lots more to cover, so I'm sure we will have you back on again. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a massive round of applause. Linehan. Thank you. We'll be back next week with Sophie Hagen. Stick around. How'd you like them sky potatoes?